You are listening to the Central Indiana Sports Report, episode 202.1, our daily update on high school, college, and professional sports news in Central Indiana, with some major national sports news, anything that may be of interest to Central Indiana sports fans.
You're listening to the Central Indiana Sports Report with your host, Greg Mengelt.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whenever you've chosen to listen to the Central Indiana Sports Report. We are so blessed that you chose to spend part of your day with us. Today is March 12th, 2025. It's a Wednesday, so it's another day for the Central Indiana Sports Report. I'm your host, Greg Mengelt, and I love Central Indiana sports. Coming to you today from Madison Grant High School, producer Susie is in the control room at headquarters in Jeffersonville. There were no high school sports this week, obviously. That resumes this weekend with boys basketball regionals and gymnastics state finals. On this edition of the Central Indiana Sports Report Daily Report, we have a Pacers thriller, more Colts news, a quick look at the NCAA conference tournaments across the country, and we have local college baseball and softball. But first, I'm going to ask you to please go to our YouTube page, search Central Indiana Sports Report. It's easy to find, and subscribe. We'd really appreciate it. Also, earlier Wednesday, we released Grant Schaus's IU report, the first official one, and it was fantastic. We previewed the Big Ten tournament, talked about IU's coaching search, previewed the women's NCAA tournament chances, and heaped praise on Mike Woodson and Trey Galloway for the Hoosiers' late season run. Go check that out. It's episode 201.2. And for the first time in a week, I actually feel like talking about the Pacers. Man, what a game it was Wednesday night. Back and forth, dramatic. Two teams probably going to play each other in the first round of the playoffs. And the Pacers beat the Milwaukee Bucks 114-113 at the Fieldhouse in Indianapolis. Down 3 with the clock winding down, Tyrese Halliburton hit one of the most amazing three-pointers you'll ever see to tie the game, then made the subsequent free throw after being fouled by Giannis Antetokounmpo.
You know, usually I hate running that play because I feel like I never get the ball. And I tried to convince coach to let me switch sides, and they were like, no, run it the regular way. And, Double A and Miles did a great job of causing confusion in the middle of the court, and I just kind of came off, got open, Drew found me, and, just made the shot.
The Bucks had to go the length of the floor with 3 seconds left, and Giannis's contested three-pointer came up short. There were 22 ties and 21 lead changes in the game. The Pacers had a pair of 11-point leads, one in the first half and one of the second half, but even those didn't last very long. It was one of the best regular season NBA games you will ever see. There were so many heroes for Indiana, obviously Halliburton. He struggled most of the game after missing the Pacers' previous 3, all losses, but he still finished with 14 points and 10 assists. Pascal Siakam had 25 points, 12 rebounds, and 5 assists. Ben Mathurin came off the bench for 17 points, and TJ McConnell had 12 points, 7 assists, and 4 steals in just 21 minutes. He was fantastic. MCCONNELL McConnell. He definitely earned that one. Brook Lopez led Milwaukee with 23 points. The Bucks and Pacers are now tied for 4th in the Eastern Conference standings. Unless Detroit spoils the party, the Pacers and Bucks should be the 4th and 5th seeds and meet in the first round of the playoffs. It's a rivalry that's become, let's just say, intense over about the last 12 months. The two teams played their final regular season game Saturday in Milwaukee.
You guys know the history between us and that team, so, feels good to get a win there, and sets up a huge game in Milwaukee for us in a couple of days.
On Tuesday, the Colts signed quarterback Daniel Jones to compete with Anthony Richardson for the starting position. Around the league on Tuesday, DeAndre Hopkins signed with the Ravens. Joey Bosa is headed to Buffalo. That could be a big one. Javon Holland left Miami for the Giants. The Saints signed safety Justin Reed, and former Colts guard Will Fries will join Ryan Kelly on the offensive line in Minnesota. And the world champion Eagles defense continues to be decimated. C.J. Gardner-Johnson is headed to Houston after a trade for guard Kenyon Green. Also in the NFL on Tuesday, Saquon Barkley signed a 2-year extension in Philly, and Zach Bond will also stay with the Eagles. Max Crosby is signed to stay in Vegas. Khalil Mack signed a 1-year deal to stay with the Chargers. And Washington signed future Hall of Famer and one of the best linebackers of all time, Bobby Wagner, to a 1-year deal. He will stay in Washington. The top remaining free agents are Amari Cooper, Stephon Diggs, Cam Robinson, Tevin Jenkins, Rasul Douglas, Asante Samuel Jr., Mekhi Becton, Von Miller, DeMarcus Lawrence, Darius Slay, Matthew Judon, Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, Nick Chubb, and Keenan Allen. There's also a rumor that the Rams have put Cooper Kupp on the trading block. So still plenty of players to help teams like the Colts. NCAA conference tournaments continued Tuesday with 3 championship games. Gonzaga upset number 9 St. Mary's 58-51 to win the West Coast. UNC Wilmington beat Delaware 76-72. Watch out for the Seahawks in the NCAA tournament. And in Indianapolis, Robert Morris punched its ticket to the tournament by beating Youngstown State, the Penguins, 89-78. Wednesday's finals are in the Big Sky, the Patriot League, and the Southland. In the Southland, 20-12 Lamar will take on 26-6 McNeese. American and Navy will battle for the Patriot League title, and co-Big Sky regular season champions Montana and Northern Colorado will play for the league's NCAA bid. Several conferences get underway on Wednesday, including 3 games in the Big Ten, Northwestern versus Minnesota, Iowa versus Ohio State, and USC and Rutgers. Also, the Atlantic 10, American, SEC, Big West, the Mountain West all get started, as does the Big East, including Butler's first-round game against Providence. On Tuesday, Purdue guard Braden Smith, the best player in the country, made it 3 straight Big Ten Player of the Year awards for the Boilermakers. Smith is averaging 16.3 points and 4.7 rebounds, is second in the nation at 8.8 assists per game, and is in the top 15 nationally at 2.3 steals per game. Ball State's MAC champion women also get underway Wednesday at noon. The 24-7 Cardinals faced 12-17 Western Michigan in a MAC quarterfinal in Cleveland. We'll have details on that one on Thursday's Daily Report. In college baseball, IU broke a 2-2 tie with 5 runs in the top of the 6th in a 9-4 win at Indiana State. Corbin Dickerson continued his hot play by going 3 for 5 with a triple, 3 runs, and 2 RBIs. Dickerson is now batting .395 with 8 home runs, 3 doubles, and team bests of 29 RBIs and 27 runs scored. He has a .489 on-base percentage and a .776 slugging percentage. The Hoosiers host Ohio State for 3 Big Ten games Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. The Ball State-Purdue-Fort Wayne baseball and softball games scheduled for Tuesday were canceled. In softball, IU won its 5th straight game, 13-0 over Butler Tuesday in Bloomington. The Hoosiers scored 3 times in the first and 5 each in the third and fourth. Brianna Copeland tossed a 5-inning, 5-hit shutout and is now 3-2 on the season. Frankton's McKenna Alexander was 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts for the Bulldogs. Indiana Wesleyan is 10-2 after sweeping Spring Arbor 7-0 and 14-2 in conference games in Michigan Tuesday. Jordan Ball is now 6-0 after her shutout win in the opener. Isabel Beetlescheiss got the win in Game 2, and she is now 4-1 on the season. Whitney Waddell had 5 RBIs on the day, and Maddie Marsh went 4 for 6 with a double, 5 RBIs, and 2 runs scored. Briley Bilger went 2 for 3 with 3 RBIs in Game 2. Taylor also swept a conference doubleheader, taking down Mount Vernon Nazarene 8-0 and 12-10. In Game 1, Claire Cullen threw a 5-inning shutout, and Livy Lehman drove in 4 runs. In Game 2, Taylor scored 8 times in the 6th to come from behind for the win. Madison Standridge was 2 for 4 with a double, a triple, 2 runs scored, and 3 RBIs, and had a base-clearing triple in the key 6th inning. Grace Mullins had the go-ahead double in the frame. Taylor is now 11-3. And Wednesday's highlights, along with conference tournaments all over the country, men's and women's. Purdue baseball is 14-2 and will host 6-8 Butler at 4 o'clock. And IU softball, which is 18-5 and has won 6 games in a row, hosts 7-8 Southern Indiana. That game is also at 4 o'clock. And now you know everything we know about Central Indiana sports. Thank you so much for listening. Always appreciate it. If you're interested in seeing the Central Indiana Sports Report continue to grow and thrive, please share it with your friends. The Central Indiana Sports Report is a product of ITG Media. And I love Susie.